Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending today's Straight Talk Business 102. A few things before we start. Please place all questions that you may have pertaining to this webinar into the Q&A box. Please do not enter it into the chat. That way we will not miss your questions and we can answer your questions as we see them through the Q&A box. Also, through the chat function, you will be able to type your responses in there if you feel like saying something to each other. It's a way that you guys can network with each other as well. And if you have, just something to say in the chat, you can definitely put that in the chat as well. So let's start. Let's begin. Why are we here today? Straight Talk was designed by the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization to provide some insight to you as a business owner. This is straight talk, not government talk. So we are here to share basic concepts of what you know, some that you don't. This series 102 intention is to focus on the established business and how to continue that growth. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Dr. Williams. And we all know that in a small business, as it grows, can change your life forever. It is now your passion, your guiding light, and your pursuit to happiness. Entrepreneurship is a career path. It's long days and nights. It's no supper sometimes and putting the children, if you have any, to bed early. It takes plenty of money and it takes effort. So we're here to help you navigate. Straight Talk 102 lets you ask the questions and share those growth experiences. So thank you for being here today. So tell me, Dr. Williams, what valuable tips are most important to growing your company? I think you're still muted, Dr. Williams.
You are correct. To answer your question, I think at this point with Business 102, we're looking at those businesses that are established and in their continual growth pattern. And some of the things that we'll talk about today, which is learning and training, requires the incorporation of knowing who you are as a individual and what type of leadership style. So I think all of those things should be at the forefront of any company's design as they continue to grow, and is important for your representation internally and externally to your company. Go ahead, Curtis. Did you have another question?
No question, Dr. Williams.
Okay. So today we're in Straight Talk 102. The ability to deal with people is as purchasable as a commodity, as sugar and coffee. And I will pay more for that ability than for any other thing under the sun. And that's John D. Rockefeller. One of the things that he focused on was internal growth, which improved his external growth. Every enterprise is a learning and teaching institution. Training and development must be built into it on all levels. Training and development that never stops. And that's Peter Drucker. And one of the things that he has done throughout his career is a lot of research, written books on leadership and management, and so forth. And one of the interesting folks in the field of leadership training and development. Today, I wanted to get into how that benefits the growth of your business and why it's necessary. As your business is faced slowly or quickly, the growth pains, you've probably noticed that those that are working for you now, that have worked for you previously, that they lack training or they did not have an extension to what your company is focused on doing, what it offers or what it can extend itself in those offerings. Um, having a leadership style is real important, and understanding your leadership style is more important. We'll go to that extension later on in the conversation. However, let's look at the four things that come under training and learning. You got your leadership style, the formal versus informal training, mentor and protege, business growth and benefits of training and learning. To begin with, let's talk about leadership styles. The PowerPoint provides you with 10 that are most popular in the marketplace that research has been done that can let you amplify which one works best for you, the faults, and the good parts of it. But most, if you look at number 8, which is transformational, that particular uh, style of leadership is one that most companies have at this point and have a better opportunity to grow, which encompasses pretty much all the rest of the leadership styles, limiting the negative part that may be within all of them and how to associate what that may be. You have to take a good look at yourself and what part of each leadership style is more focused on your company's success. Um, we look at the coach, which is the person that's motivational in their attitude. You may have a leader that, continues to teach, continues to coach their supervisors, their employees, direct one-on-one contact. Your visionary, which all companies should have a leader, the individual CEO or owner should have that type of leadership style. Progress, focused, and inspirational. Then you have your servant style, which is humble and protective. Everyone should have some type of humble beginnings and endings in their not only personal life but also in their business life. And there are limitations to servant leadership. Your autocratic is the person that uh, can be the one that people avoid. They're result driven and focused without considering the feelings or the training levels of the people that they're dealing with. You have your hands off person. They want to delegate everything, even though they don't understand what they're delegating themselves. You're supportive and innovative. Um, that is a part of being transformational. And your pace setter, helpful and motivational. There is a difference between the coach and the pace setter. And each one of these, there's a whole lot of writing narratives out there. There's a lot of studying out there, a lot of journals, and a lot of books that can help you clarify where you fit and how to engage all of these styles to benefit your company. Um, Understanding that part and associating them with who you are can help benefit you in the business setting when you're training your leaders, your supervisor, your partner, your actual workers. And it helps them understand where their limitations are. Do you may have people that are administrative in nature. They handle your, say, your QuickBooks, your finances, send out invoices. Do you want you? They need to know what your mission is, but they're limited to exactly what they do. Um, and you don't want them out teaching new employees that are actually going to be working as a front for your business. Therefore, the teaching that you do and the mentoring that you do has to be focused and it has to have a mission for those individuals. Meaning, how many of you currently have a training guide or some type of electronic training for all new staff that come in that are based on leadership, individuals, your managerial staff, and for your employees that are actually doing the hands-on work? Can you raise your hand?
And if you're unable to raise your hand, you can also put that information in the chat.
Okay, so what we're looking like, Wendy?
It looks like out of 48 attendees, 2 displayed their hand that they actually have that.
Okay, so for the 2 that raised their hand, can you take one off of so they can speak?
Curtis, can you unmute them, please?
Yeah, hold on one second, because I don't see but one star.
I just see one hand raised. And I see in the Q&A.
Can you hear me, Mr. James? Hello?
So in your Q&A area, did they acknowledge that they currently have a training program? Do you have a person that acknowledged that?
Mr. Ingram said, not me. Oh, Mr. Ingram said, I don't have a training guide. Not, he said he doesn't have a mic either.
Okay. All right. No problem. All right. So we'll move on.
We got one, Dr. Williams. Hold on one second.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Laura. You had your hand up. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. No, I don't. I didn't have anything. I was just saying that I'm a single member, so I don't have anything like that implemented.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. So in your case, when you begin to understand or expand everything that you know, you should be able to write it down and put it in a format that you can teach others. And why that's important, as you begin to grow, you don't have time to sit down and teach everything to an individual, which may be another employee that you hire or another senior employee that's going to be able to teach those things that you know to someone else. So what I advise people to do is to take the time to sit down and do an employee manual, to do that early on and update it as you change processes and procedures. Okay. And your vision, what is that over the next year, over the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and 5 years? And if you're at that point, then you do the next 5 years. And as you change your processes so that someone can go and read and understand where your company is headed to, how to handle your internal processes so that the public receives the same answer all the time, not some of the time, and that people don't take it upon themselves to explain to an external person exactly what you do and how you do it. It's systematic and it's a learning process. As we look at the Gallup poll that was taken in 2022 on workplace engagement, what they found was the top 10 reasons why employees want to stay in an organization, and understanding most of the time this is why they leave. Number 1 is growth opportunities. Employees are responsible for their employees' growth. Recognition and rewards. We all understand that it doesn't have to be monetary. It can also be a thank you. The perks and benefits. As a small business, you can only give so much and those things that you're going to give, you need to focus on, and do that on a yearly basis on what you intend on providing. They want to know that their voices are heard and in return receive feedback. Uh, Challenging work atmosphere, work-life balance, job security, and they want to learn from their leaders and their boss. Goal setting, responsibility, and accountability. So what we've understood from employees, if they're not learning anything, their life becomes repetitious, there's no room for advancement, no levels that they can climb and achieve, they pretty much tend to leave. If you have a mission for your company and there are stages, and developing that training and training plan for them, you'll be able to fit your plans into it and it into your plans. And that means taking notes, what you've learned and what you uh, uh, think you need to learn as a owner. Um, Understanding the difference between formal and informal training. Who are the people you have chosen to learn and communicate your business concerns? That's that's very important. As a small business, sometimes people tend to say, I'm not going to teach so much because then they will leave and become my competitor. It really doesn't matter what you teach. If they have the intention of leaving and becoming your competitor, then that's exactly what they're going to do. Faithfulness is within the employee themselves. So you can't risk ruining your business by not teaching them the right thing to do. Because most of the time, if a person has an interest in your field, they've done some background and may have already completed some training. So they're comparing that or other companies to what you're offering, educationally wise. Um, what does formal training do for your staff as you increase your sales? It helps you grow. That means that you can focus on what you need to focus on, generating a larger revenue stream, and you know that your manager or your employee is highly trained, can represent you. So if tomorrow you decide to leave and go to a conference, that you don't have to worry about what they are going to say or the processes that they're going to follow when they need to solve a problem or represent you as your company's face. Um, Formal training is for your mentors. Okay, that's the people that are your second and third arm. Those are the people you depend on. Um, they become a protege for the people that you hire that's underneath them. So one of the things, and you've heard all the horror stories about companies and employees and what folks are doing, and um, the board members don't know that this was happening and this and that. So it can become the bigger you get, the more you become further away from the employees themselves. That's on the ground doing the actual work. So it's how you train your mentor and the communication that you have with them, also the communication you have with your employees, which means not only do you have a training program in place with instructions, hands-on, for those of you that are doing hands-on work, and some type of measurement to see where they are. And everybody doesn't learn the same. They may be visual learners. They may be individuals that like to learn alone or read stuff and then apply it. So you have to also understand what type of learner they are and not expect everyone to learn as you have learned. Um, As a manager and a supervisor, the CEO is responsible for the performance of their company. Therefore, the supervisor and the manager, they have limited responsibility. Their responsibilities are based on what you've taught them. If you don't have something to teach them by and expect to go in your head and pluck it out and give it to them, there's nothing for them to go back and take a look at. And that's where a lot of companies make a mistake, or there's a misunderstanding. I told you to do it this way, you did it that way. Well, maybe they interpreted it another way. That's where the training comes into play. That's where documentation of that training is there to present to them. And that way you know that everyone's taught the same thing at different times and it can be followed and checked. Now, understanding that not all leaders are mentors and not all mentors are leaders. Because you have a mentor that you've assigned to employees, you need to understand if they're able to do that. They may be the best learner, the best person to put in your place to do certain tasks. But how do they feel about teaching others? Are they comfortable? Are they shy? How is that going to affect your training within your company if they don't feel comfortable being a mentor? How do your leaders feel? You may be looking at them a different way and applying their strengths in another way, but how strong are they when it comes to teaching someone else? Is their attitude good? Is the focus on the important things in your company amplified, or how are they at teaching others? And you have to measure those things. Are you a good teacher? That means that you need to brighten up your teaching ability. Take some classes, do some one-on-one training. Write down the things that, like I said earlier, that are important to your company's growth and processes and procedures. Every company should have a process, a policy, should have an employee manual, and should have procedures that you follow for specific things that require procedures. We're not talking about, even for the littlest things. If you're in the sales business and you have salesmen, what do they need to do from point A to Z? Different scenarios. Annotate those by your experience and the things that you did wrong and the things that you did right. Write those down. Make it a training policy. Make it a training manual with all the things that deal with your business. And you will find when people enjoy where they work at, they understand what they're doing, they'll stay. Some will stay without any extra money, knowing that there's other money to be made out there, all because their CEO knows what they're doing, knows the direction that their company is going in, and that in itself will present them with other opportunities as the company grows. You pick the right people for your company. You pick the training that they will receive, but always you don't limit them. Teach them, share with them. You don't have to give them your finances, but if you want a good manager, you want a good employee, then you teach them the things that they need to be that. Do we have questions, Wendy?
I don't see any questions right now, Dr. Williams.
Okay, so can someone tell me that's in a bigger business, say of 5 or 10 employees, what you've done to do your training? Does anyone here have that many employees? Do we have
And
it?
answer in the chat. And if you want to, we can take you off mute and you can speak as well. just please respond in the chat or raise your hand. 1 second, Dr. Williams. Right now, I'm not seeing anyone.
Okay. So I would assume that most of the companies here have below 5 employees, and you're in your growth paradigm here. So there are many pieces that you're going to face, and many pieces that you're going to have to bring together in order to have a good training program. And it's necessary. One person, two people, you need to understand what you're doing as well. When you go out there and you do research on different aspects of your business as a whole, then that's training. What you found, how you apply it, um, that's actual training. So you can pull that together and also present it in a format for your managers and your employees to take a look at. Some of the things that you can research, and I provided you some links, was first, leadership development, executive level. Dale Carnegie, and I'm sure that a lot of you have heard of him, provides some excellent training. Your leadership development training for corporations, Harvard Business Publishing, they have quite a bit of training as well. 12 ways to implement successful employee training initiatives by Forbes. That's some good information as well. And 5 ideas for creating training incentives for employees. Cornerstone on Demand, they have quite a bit. And a lot of the organizations are offering free training on how to train. Hewlett Packard, they have a certification program that's free. And you can go in and take the classes yourself. And there's all kind of business courses. It's not just for Hewlett Packard. It's for the business community. I saw a question come up, Wendy.
Yeah, hold on 1 second, Dr. Williams. I have somebody that said they have 6 employees and they use a training binder. I'm gonna see if we can get them off mute. They have some difficulties in WebEx, but if not, then we can keep moving in. But thank you. So hold on 1 second. Mr. Hagman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
How you doing? Yes, thank you. How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good, good. But yes, please share your experience that you have with your 6 employees in your training binder.
Well, our training is kind of a certification process, and we have a regular a training binder and the kind of the employee handbook to go along with it. And so they have to go through a training certification process with us. We've had up to 13 staff members prior to COVID, and then it kind of tanked for a little while, so we're down to 6. But they come in and we do one-on-one training with them, walk them through our processes, do evaluations, certify them, and then they go through, have to read the handbook and then sign that they've completed the handbook, and then we certify their training.
Okay, so you have not only a training, but you have a measurement method
Yes.
in place. Are they asked questions on how they feel about the training that you provided? What industry are you talking about? So to give me a little bit more.
We're in the healthcare services.
Okay. So do you ask them how they feel about the training that you're providing?
Yeah,
Do you do a survey?
we don't do a written survey, but we do a lot of just one-on-one with our staff. we encourage feedback. So
how do you take that? How do you take all the feedback that you receive, examine it, and then look at the training that you're providing? So have you associated those things together? So for instance, if you have 5 people that say out of the 10, out of the 9 that a particular part of your training is not clear, or they know of another industry standard that should be introduced based on their expertise and history. How do you handle that where it's written, uh, and logged?
um, I'm, I'd say because we're still kind of such a small business, a lot of that is on a case by case kind of thing. Um, so it's probably not really written and logged very well. They do have a post certification, um, a few questions at the end of it, and we kind of just kind of catalog all of those and see if we see any trends. But it's pretty simple.
Okay, so the trend development thing and you are logging them. So, and you're looking at trends as far as what's being stated and how similar they are, correct? So that's what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
All right, now that's great. There's a lot of free resources out there too. It's just not industry standard. It's individuality. You have your training on ethics, you have your training on interpersonal communications. It's not just industry specific because all of those things work together. You can have a great worker, but every time they open their mouth, you really want to push them off the hilltop. But when you put them to applying that specific thing that has to do with what you're offering, they are excellent. So training extends to individual development as well as organizational development. Your leaders, do you have managers right now, or you just have employees?
We are just employees right now. We had one manager when we were up to 13 employees, but when COVID happened, we ended up having to let the manager go.
Okay. All right. So, one of the things that I recommend to everyone is that you make all of your staff mentors. Okay. So when you make them a mentor, they learn what you know as a business owner in the application of what you do. So when you begin to grow or get back up to 13 or 50, those that are here with you now, which gives you said 5 people or 7. You said 5, correct?
We have 6 currently, but
You have 6.
we have some kind of, you know, program in place where after they've been with us a certain amount of time, we reevaluate them, and then we kind of, I guess, give them an additional title of trainer or something like that.
Okay, okay. So, your measurement, like I was talking about earlier, making sure that that individual is a trainer, that they are a mentor, because they may just be a worker, okay, um, and may not feel comfortable in doing so. There, as you begin to watch them, their interactions with individuals may not allow them to take on a mentorship type role, even though you may have expended a lot of time in training them, they may not be the one. So that's some of the things that in a training program you have to examine and ask them what they want. What do they need to be a better trainer if you find them as the individual you want to mentor your incoming staff? And give it to them. Find some free resources. Everything doesn't have to be paid. There's a lot of folks out here offering, or bring someone in to do your training for you. Um, as far as all of the other little stuff that they should, sexual harassment, diversity, ethics. That's all a part of your training. Do you train on those things as well?
Yeah, we do offer training as kind of a standard for all of those topics.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So, what are you in 102 for? I need to have you teaching the class.
I missed 101, so I just jumped on 102.
No, I'm just kidding. So you have your stuff pretty much together, and you individually focused on the need for training. And I think everybody needs to understand that as well. Um, all of the things that are associated with your company and its performance has to do with training. And the extension of you is you duplicate it in a sense that you don't want anyone else doing what you would not do as a company owner. So, training them correctly, testing them, evaluating them, listening to them, that's all part of it. Everything you're not going to change for an individual that may be complaining about this, that, and this. But hear what they're saying. If out of 12 sentences, 2 are important for change, then that's what you look at. 2 are important for training. Um, and as you said, the prior gentleman that was just on, as he stated, he has a method of awards and rewards for learning this stuff. Um, that means future opportunity as the company begins to grow. And people at times are not truthful with folks when they come in the door. You have this training. This may be your first employee, but you need to let them know you're growing. Your intent is to sit down and have them trained so that they can be an extension of who you are. And hopefully they'll stay and ride out that wave. If they don't, then it's already in writing, it's already been tested, it works well. Then the next person that comes in the door, it won't take you 2 or 3 years to train them correctly. Your expectations are in that training and learning manual, um, focused on how you're going to test them, how you're going to measure them. And if they don't work out, then that's when you need to move on to the next person. Representation can only be done if they know what they're representing. Um, and a lot of us wait until something goes wrong before we say, "Oh, I didn't teach them that." So that's important as well. Do we have more questions? Because I think this segment is going to end a little bit earlier than the hour. So I'm glad to answer any questions that are business related and also for your learning and training session here.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Okay, go ahead.
First question is, I want to grow and hire employees. However, I run my supply business from my house and track it all through an Excel spreadsheet. Is there anyone that could sit down with me and look over my entire business with me to show me how to grow it?
Sure, there are organizations out there under the SBA. You got your PCAC folks that you can use. And, specifically, sometimes just picking up a book and reading how others have faced some of the problems that you have faced and also some solutions that you are facing and some of the solutions. Most people work from home now. So you don't have to have employees coming to your home. They can work from home if you need them for 2 or 3 hours, as long as you get on face to face with them on the computer or any Teams or any of the other face to face programs that they have out there, and you go through what you expect of them, what your company is, how you intend on training them how to do what you do. Your Excel sheet issue, you have to look at what programs are being used for your company type. There are, I think it's Business in a Box is what it used to be called. They have all your policies and procedures. All you have to do, there's industry standard. So all you have to do is fill in those things that are specific to your type of business. They have, excuse me, sexual harassment policies. They have ethics. It's a big old policy manual. And they also have an employee manual that's attached to it that you can format and change for your specific company, add or delete. It also has by state, which will pull in some of the state requirements that you may have in your industry. So there's things out there to help you, and there's things out there that are free. Everything is not going to be free now. If you search long enough, you probably will find one, but it's find something, but it may be outdated. So hopefully that answered your questions. There's free guidance out there. You can confer with an accountant. They have online folks that you can use for your Microsoft Excel knowledge, or there's guidance out there that you can use in book format on how to create some of the programs and write the language within those templates to generate what you want generated. And it's not complex because it's right there in front of you. There's step A to Z. So hopefully that helps. Is there another question?
Yes, absolutely. Um, this was not a question, but it says we are a trucking company with 40 team members. We have annual safety training where we review the employee handbook. We have a formal onboarding process, 3 to 4 week training process for new drivers, 1 week digital process, 2 week passenger, and 1 to 2 weeks driving.
Okay, 1 week, 2 weeks, and 3 weeks. Okay. All right. So now you seem to be also in the place where you're together. It's context and content. So your onboarding process, how have you evaluated as a CEO? Have you went back since you've had 5 employees to the point now that you're at 40 to make any changes to that training program that might benefit the size of staff that you have now? And when you get up to 100, is your training up to date? Not industry standard training. I'm talking about process training. Your industry standard, your CDLs, your requirements for your trucking industry is one thing, because those are mandated. I'm talking about your non-mandated training and how you are measuring the importance of that across those employees that you are now training. Have you asked them, is it effective in their everyday duties, or do you need something specific for that industry to help them understand your expectations as a company?
Thank you. Right now, I don't see any other questions. But before you end, I do want to say thank everybody for attending today. If you want to review Business 101 with the 3 series, please visit our YouTube channel. I'm placing that in the chat box right now for everyone. We also have other trainings that we have conducted listed on there. Please take a look and review them. We're all about advocating for small businesses. So please feel free to take a look at all these free resources we have for you on our training page, on our YouTube channel. And at the
And
end of this,
make
please go ahead, Dr. Williams.
make them aware of the links that were provided on the PowerPoint, because that's one of the biggest things that gives them something to start with.
Everything that was on the PowerPoint and the links, the recording will be on our YouTube page. And as far as the presentation, this will be sent out to you tomorrow morning. So yes, you will get a copy of this slide deck with the resources and information that you need. I ask that you please complete the survey at the end of this call. I would like to get 100% participation on the survey. Just give us a chance to see how we can improve and the things that we have done well. Same thing, you know, with any small business or any business you have, you're always looking for feedback. That's how you build performance. So please feel free to take the survey, and I appreciate everybody for taking that time and coming today listening to our training and our webinar. Dr. Williams, you did a wonderful job. You always do a great job of, you know, giving us that good expertise and the information that you have and that good knowledge. It's much appreciated. So thank you. If you have anything else, Dr. Williams, go ahead, take it away before we end.
Nope, I have nothing else. Thank you. And write us if you have a question. Have a good rest of the week.
Yes, have a good week, everybody. Thank you.